Hey friends, Scott Smith with the Smith team at Keller Williams. Wanted to share with you some insight on a couple questions that we get on a regular basis, whether we're bumping into someone at the grocery store or friends or just a casual conversation with someone about real estate. First question that we usually get is, how is the real estate market? The second question we get are, what is going on with interest rates? So I thought I'd share with you some interesting insight on what is going on with today's mortgage rates and how it relates historically. So I've got four really good charts to kind of share with you about what we're seeing in today's interest rates and kind of how to monitor what is happening and what the predictions are. So the first thing I wanted to share with you is a great chart where it kind of shows where we've been historically over the last few years, and then where we're looking at for the next few quarters for the predictions from Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and the Mortgage Bankers Association. What we're seeing is basically mortgage rates have stabilized over the last year or so. We've seen some daily fluctuations and volatility where we're seeing some ups and downs, whether it be from an economic news or some political news. Some of the stuff that's happening in Iran has impacted interest rates. But for the most part, we've seen mortgage rates settle into a really good rhythm between 6 and 6.5, and there's some fluctuations with that, but we haven't seen the under 6% rate that we would have hoped for like this time last year. So they have settled into that rhythm, and kind of what we're seeing is the mortgage bankers, where they're predicting for where we are today and looking forward for the next 3 or 4 quarters. So the next year or so, obviously we'll see what happens with that, but we're expecting that rates are going to kind of settle into that 6% range. So a lot of those buyers that we have the conversations with, we're going to wait until rates come down. We just really haven't seen a big swing in rates fluctuating downward, but there are some good opportunities out there. So the second thing I want to share with you is a chart where it kind of shows what Fannie, Mortgage Bankers Association, and also Wells Fargo, what they're looking at for their rates. And it's actually, kind of showing up at 6.5%. The biggest thing when it comes to interest rates, what we're seeing from a quoting standpoint, is those rates are national rates, but locally we might see some fluctuations if you're using a good mortgage broker that can maybe shop your loan around to a couple different national lenders. So something to keep in mind where it might save you a couple bucks, maybe 0.5% at a big swing for mortgage rates. The third thing I want to share with you is what we watch on a regular basis when it comes to interest rates. And a lot of people don't know this, but when you look at comparing the interest rates, you look at this chart where it compares the 10-year Treasury to the 30-year mortgage rate. And the gap in between those is what's called the YSP, the yield spread premium for loans. And bonds are basically a 30-year mortgage. And the difference in that is what you'd see a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. That is the lender's profit margin on those, where they will charge back on that. So if you're wondering kind of what is happening with interest rates, just look up a chart for the 30-year or the 10-year bond, and you can see how those mirror each other. The last chart I want to share with you is a historical chart when it comes to mortgage rates. This goes back into the early 70s, and we're kind of showing where we're in the red, where it was significantly higher, and the blue, where we kind of settled into that anywhere from 5 to 7%, and I think that's below 5%, kind of where we were a couple of years ago, with a little bit of an anomaly with COVID rates that were significantly lower. So from a historical perspective, interest rates are right in line in that 5 to 7% range. If we're looking at making some smart mortgage decisions, where are we going to be in the next few years? Hopefully this information gives you some good insight with that. I want to share with that with you. If you know of anyone that's looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate, certainly reach out to us. We have our thumb on the pulse of the market and what is going on. So reach out to us. We'd be happy to help you. 651-777-3434. Take care. Have a great day.